Salam sejahtera and good evening, everyone. My name is Architect Shukran Mohidin, DLS convener, and I am your MC for tonight. On behalf of the organizer, PAM, it is my honor to welcome everyone to tonight's event. Please be advised that those QR code will be present on the outside at the registration counter. You will need to register before the event start, and another QR code that you will need to scan at the end of the event. Please be reminded, you will need to scan both QR code for your CPD claim. Allow me to read some housekeeping notes for you. To evacuate the building, please use the exit by the nearest staircase on my right side. Following to the exit signage and obey all instructions given by the fire wardens, and remember to avoid using lift. Kindly switch your mobile to silent mode, or better yet, switch to off mode for your full attention throughout the event. Without wasting any time, ladies and gentlemen, for start of the night, we would like to invite our first sessions presenter, Open Mic Night. Here we would like to invite our Open Mic Night presenter for tonight, Ms. Young Hui Qi, to the stage to present her topic on Psychoteratic of Symbiocene. But before that, let me read some of her biography. Young Hui Qi is a Part 1 lamp architectural designer, currently working in Singapore. She is one of the ADA Awards winner to 2022-2023, clinched the ADA Best Sustainable Design Award for Architectural category. Her winning design, Paradox Unity, proposed a space in Kuala, Malaysia, and is focused on emotional well-being, cultural identity, and environmental awareness of the batik community. Leveraging the Symbiocene concept, the designs strive to reconnect to bond between humans and nature, fostering a journey of homeostasis, awareness, and love for the environment. Paradox Unity is a cultural mediative healing center for batik community. The center provides an experiencing journey to revitalize, preserve, and promote indigenous people's cultural knowledge, cultural resilience, social inclusions, and well-being of batik tribes broadly. Please welcome to the stage Ms. Young Hui Qi.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Young Hui Qi, and I would like to thank you, PAM, for giving an opportunity for me to share my work in the Design Lecture Series 2024 Open Mic Night. So before I start, I would like to share a video.
Up and my mama was all over the place. Like, yo, we leaving. Like, yo, like, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you.
Since the storm, it seems like everybody just moved on. In America, especially during disaster, black children are not even a thought.
Have you ever, like, talked about this before?
No, I haven't.
Why you think?
I don't know, nobody didn't really ask me.
Hurricane Katrina caused one of the biggest disbursements of black people in history.
After losing so much, why wouldn't anyone ask if we were okay? Nobody ever asked the children how they were doing. So I am.
Katrina babies, take one.
Friday, I was at school walking the hallways with my friends. By Monday, I was on top of fucking roof.
Everything you consider as part of who you are was reduced to a trash bag.
Am I gonna die? I don't know. I just was like, I'm not supposed to be here.
The New Orleans that we knew was gone. When I got back after Katrina, I naively thought that everything was going to be normal again.
The feel of community in New Orleans is different now.
Your neighborhood was crucial to who you were. What we knew to be true is gone. think about what that does to a community. It destabilizes it.
I feel like nobody should be that young going through shit like that.
They're in home and they don't feel safe. What does that do to our children? It wreaks havoc on their well-being.
Woke up and my
Okay. So in the heartbreaking filming, you can see that Katrina's babies in the background are clearly distressed. And they are experiencing a climate change-induced trauma, and they are not alone. Indigenous community, one of the oldest nomadic inhabitants in Malaysia, Batik tribes, also experience the same emotional distress flashbacks like Katrina babies due to the direct impact of climate change on their life, livelihoods, and environment. So who are the Batik, and why do they matter? Other than they are considered one of the oldest nomadic inhabitants in Malaysia that are currently facing global extinction, they are also amongst the most neglected community that does not recognize their sovereignty. As a nomadic hunter-gatherer who have a strong emotional linkage to the environment, various relocations programs to the forest fringe has made them lost the way of life. They are currently experiencing a high stress level of climate stress. Therefore, focusing on countering negative emotions related to Earth, I'll be sharing my project named PAMDLS Unity, a cultural meditative experiencing center that focusing on introducing a space that reintegrate between a human and the rest of nature, and also to improve the emotional well-being and promote cultural identity of the Batik community more broadly. So the site is located in Kuala, Kelantan, and it's frequently encrusted with myths, legends, and religious perceptions. The forest is their only world. It's not only their physical provider, but also emotional and spiritual fulfillment for themselves. In Batik people, I feel it's also a dwelling place for other than human beings who frequently become enraged and encrust if the sites are being polluted or destroyed. Therefore, it can be said that Batik emotional environment is in sign with their landscape, and their identity and a sense of place are inextricably linked. However, deforestations, various relocations programs, avalanches of toxic pollutions has claiming life of 15 Batik people in just 2 weeks. This has caused a trope of fears, a collective worries about the uncontrollable global process. Batik emotional environment are now in crisis. So what is psychoteratic? It's an emotion that people feel in relation to Earth, an Earth emotion. And based on Earth emotions written by Glenn Elberg, various words like terra trauma, solastalgia, topophobia are new words being introduced to describe a full range of human emotions in response to the emergent state of world. And through introducing positive Earth emotions like topophobia and eutheria, it can actually extract ourselves out of environmental desolations and reignite the love of life. So, the question is, as an architectural designer, what can we do to make a change? Alongside technological revolution, what we needed is, I believe, is actually a unprecedented cultural revolution in a way how humans connect with nature. So, new memes are needed to guide our thinking, provide inspirations, and create and inspire all the generations to create a world where humans are able to live harmonious with the nature, to call a Symbiocene. Symbiocene is actually not that complicated. It's a period to reintegrate and restore the relationship between a human and the rest of nature. It's a positive psychoteratic state. And The site was at the site using the master plan using a concept of Symbiocene, focusing on using artistic tools, allow people to foster a greater sense of place. It doesn't start from building a shelter, but rather from creating an experience. It is a journey of homeostasis awareness that go through the gate like recreational activities, spiritual and healing, and also educational activities. So interventions like treehouse at Spot of Wonders, Forest of Light, and forestry biospheres represent a new model on how human can react with nature. The result is a place full of beauty and wonder, a highly poetic space that strongly influences the emotions of people. So through this journey, it can actually foster a greater appreciation to the environment and understand our relationship to it, so that we also can act with imagination, bravery, and respect towards the nature. Okay. Since then, the modern has forsaken the spiritual and moral obligation. So the idea was to create a cultural meditative memory center that promotes emotional well-being and hopefulness of the Batik tribes. So it's a building that tells story, a new design that keep Batik integrity as a people. It's a space that making space for emotion, incorporate theoretical ideologies of earth emotion, and it's also a new green building typologies in the forestry. The building can be divided into three main parts, namely Garden of Demise, Garden of Healing, and Tower of Symbiocenes. And the concept using two different contrary emotions, topophobia and eutheria. Both contrary forces are being complementary and interconnected. Unity of opposites forms a whole. For its form development, it begins to take its form from avoiding cutting off tree from site. And later, it was then connecting space of different emotional space. And later, it was then connecting different emotional space, like connecting lines of different locations of emotional space to form a special form of the underground journey. And later, they're using the lattice and also the cubicles, like to engage it in the lightweight engaging structures. Situated on slope of the hill, it welcomes visitors approaching from all different directions, allowing visitors to enter and also blend in with the nature. The space are in the ground floor. The space under lattice are the cultural programs, and the organic blocks between is the tapered from healing cubicles, which includes like materiality of a building. It's includes rammed earth material, timber lattice, and fabrics facade. This material forms a contrasting journey throughout the space. And lastly is the green design strategies. It involves like lattice roof that allow tree to pass through, tapered from cubicles that forms a layer of canopy beside, an open floor plan with green pocket space in between, And it's also a design that have a still on ground design that minimize the environmental impact. So in the garden of it, before I go into the experience of space, this is the first segment of a building called Garden of Demise. In the Garden of Demise, it can actually divide into 5 main space. Garden of Demise, Path of Terra Trauma, Path of Sola Stagia, and Path of Eutheria. And this space forms like this is a gradual change of emotional journey from fear to hope, where it also brings up a notion of it's important to not to repress a trauma, but to acknowledge and express it out. So it have a emotional space, like case. So this is the experiencing of the space, which is the Garden of Demise. In the Path of Terra Trauma, where in Path of Sola Stagia, and in Path of Eutheria, so all in all, it's a pathway that introduces a range of psychoteratic terms transitioning from fear to hope, depicting the prospect perishment of Anthropocene era and entering into a Symbiocene era. It also brings a pathway that transforms the entire structures into a discourse of batik history and earth emotions. So when visitor enter to the ground floor, Tower of Symbiocenes, it has a continuous curving facade that offer panoramic views of a landscape. So the tower aims to protect and empower the environment, animals, and local community, as well as space that practicing social healing, enable people to look inside our center and connect nature in a deeper level. And the space consists of meditative cubicles and center space. In Garden of Healing, it's lastly visitor will go through a garden that brimming with plants and promote a sense of well-being and hopefulness. It's a place that introduces batik healings and therapy method, which includes herbs treatments and faith healing space like aromatherapies, herbs gardens, and even exorcism space. So they apply the concept of shielding in a place so that it can help the healing process of the climate trauma people to have a sense, like empower them. So proper documentations of the intangible cultural heritage, such as roof touching, dart carving, and shaman healing system. Also, it is a building. Proper documentation are being introduced in the living museum and cultural workshops, allowing more and more people being exposed to this forest guardians history. So all in all, it's a visitor center that promotes cultural resilience, social inclusions, and well-being of Batik people. It's a building that tells story, a new design that keeps Batik integrity as a people. It's a building that makes space for emotions, incorporates Symbiocene theoretical, and also an environment that presents a new model on how humans can relate to nature. So by respecting nature, we know how to best respect it, protect it, and ensuring there is still much more for the future generation to enjoy. And when we lose the Batik, we will lose an important part of our country heritage that would have helped in our future to protect our natural treasures. So by acknowledging the feelings of insecurities, despair, or hopelessness faced by the Batik people, and also introducing the concept of symbiocenes, it can actually, I strongly believe Batik people have a continuous future, and they can human can able to turn the positive earth emotion as the default psychoteratic state and entering into a more environmentally sustainable future. And in some way, to have commitment to action require hopes, so that the action can lead to good outcome. So Symbiocene, this concept will be the reason to commit to a future where we return the humanity to a greater Earth project with a shared life. Yeah, that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Young Hui Qi. That was very wonderful, interesting presentation, showing that how symbiocenes can strive to reconnect the human and also the natures, and also create a distinctive architectures, and at the same time enhancing and preserving the heritage cultures of the Batik. Moving forward, we would like to thank to today's sponsor, Nippon Paint Malaysia Sdn Bhd, for their support of the event. And we would like to invite our sponsor representative, Mr. Tristan Chan, Senior Executive Marketing, to have their product talk. Please join us on stage, Mr. Tristan.
So, good evening, everyone. So, as mentioned, my name is Tristan. So, I will be giving a very new talk about our newly revitalizing weatherborne with our new quartz technology. So, basically, this is our new weatherborne series, now stronger with quartz technology. So we have this range of weatherborne now. So what can this quartz technology do? Basically, it provides the ultimate defense against your extreme weather. So it provides like longer lasting colors, best protection, long-term investment, and also property value. So, so with this quartz technology, we've come out this new range of weatherborne products. So basically, we have our standard weatherborne range, which is 8 years. Then we have our weatherborne high gloss, that provides gloss finishing for 12 years of protection. Then we have our weatherborne Solar Reflect Extreme, this one which provides sunblock technology to reduce your surface temperature. So this one also provides 12 years technology. And then we come up with our new weatherborne Ultimate, which provides you up to 15 years of protection. So I will just play our weatherborne video so everyone can understand the products better. So yep, so that was our Weatherborn series video. So this is our quartz technology. So basically quartz technology. Which provides excellent protection against fungus and algae. Also, this keep clean technology to prevent dirt penetration and dirt streak marks. So yeah, so our Weatherborn, which I mentioned previously, is now up to 8 years of protection. It comes with this quartz technology, keep clean technology, microblock technology, keep clean, and also color care technology. Then this is our Weatherborn High Gloss. So this is our gloss paint for exterior, up to 12 years of protection, providing all the same technologies from quartz technology, color care, sunblock, keep clean, and also microblock. Next, we have our Weatherborn Solar Reflect Extreme. So this is our solar reflect paint that provides up to 12 years of protection. So it provides 2 times the sunblock technology. Is alkali resistance. So this one is basically to provide with efflorescence resistance. So with our full system using our CMI's base mortar EX981, our 510 wall sealer, and 2 coats of Weatherborn. So we can actually see with the full system, you can see after 28 days, there's little to no salt deposits on the panel. But after 28 days for brand X, you can see the salt formation has formed quite severely already. So yep, so this is one thing to show about the alkali resistance for our Weatherborn series. So what is anti-carbonation? So basically this is kind of like having corrosion in your concrete. So normally it happens when carbon dioxide or CO2 reacts with your steel rebar, and then it will cause your concrete to react, making the concrete look like this. So our Nippon Paint Weatherborn, we've actually sent it for testing already. So we've actually gotten the full test report that shows that our Nippon Paint Weatherborn can prevent this carbonation effect. So with this category under C1, so we can claim that our carbon permeability can be fall under this C1 category. So we can claim it's under anti-carbonation as well. So next is sunblock technology. So normally in Malaysia, very hot weather, so your house will feel very hot always. So with this sunblock technology, our Weatherborn series can actually reduce your surface temperature. So up to using Weatherborn Solar Reflect Extreme, you can even reduce your surface temperature up to 5 degrees. Next is this color care technology. So another common problem for exterior paint is that your color will fade very fast due to UV or sunlight. So we have tested this with our own Weatherborn series. So you can see that after testing up to 4,000 hours in our machine, there is no peeling observed, no chalking, no noticeable color change, and no cracking. So this, comparing to the normal Malaysian standard, which is only 500 hours, we've went 8 times beyond that to show that there's no color change when we apply this on our exterior surfaces. So next is another common problem for exterior is fungus. Fungus will grow whenever there's a surface that it can grow on. So to mitigate that, we have this microblock technology. So we actually send our testing for actual tropical environment testing. So you can actually see that after exposing it for 6 months, there is little to no fungus growth on the panels. And then just to inform everyone, in normal Malaysian standard, it's only 28 days where they will conduct in lab scale. So we actually went above and beyond. We tested in tropical and also up to 6 months. Next is this keep clean technology. So exterior surfaces exposed to rain, weather, dirt will make your surface dirty very fast, especially for those light colors. So you can see we actually even we even did our testing for our panels. We left it up to 4 months of exposure. Then you can see that the dirt resistance is actually still quite good. A full mark will be 100%. So we can see our panels are up to at 4 months it's already 94 and 92, which is still considerably quite high. Then another thing to take note is that for this Keep Clean technology, you want to show the progression of dirt. So at the start, when we compare with brand X, you can see that before exposure, all panels appear clean. But you can see that, and in this angle, that somehow brand X looks cleaner than ours after 2 months. But in the long run, after 12 months, you can see that our panel is still much cleaner compared to brand X. So sometimes that's because it's dirty very fast. Doesn't mean it's not a good product. It's in the long run, after the building will still appear cleaner compared to others. So next is this Fibra technology. So this is considered our new technology for our Weatherbond Ultimate. So this is a technology where we reinforce with microfibers. So we combine this quartz technology and Fibra technology to come out with this new product called Weatherbond Ultimate. So this product can actually provide up to 15 years of protection, providing the same kinds of performance like keep clean, microblock, sunblock, and even color care. So what does this Fibra technology do? So we incorporate microfibers into the exterior paint film that provides better and better build-up with reinforcement, and also improves the mechanical strength for this paint film, providing up to 15 years of protection using Weatherbond Ultimate. So this is just a very overall look at feel for the series of Weatherbond, from Weatherbond High Gloss, Weatherbond Solar Reflect Extreme, and also Weatherbond Ultimate. So our best will be obviously Weatherbond Ultimate up to 15 years of protection. So another thing we want to let people know is that we've improved our formula so much that our hiding and our color vibrance is actually much better. We can even do it. We can even claim that we are the best in class product because our hiding and our color vibrance is much better compared to competitors. So providing with the color care, minimum spattering, and also this keep cleaner. So besides paint, Nippon Paint also has been continuing to push innovation boundaries to other segments, just like architectural coatings, protective coatings, waterproofing, flooring, sealant adhesive and fillers, and also dry mortar cementatious. So we provide this with total coating and construction solutions. So now we have our full business segments from our coatings, which is architectural and protective, and our beyond coatings like our flooring, waterproofing, our sealant adhesive and filler, where we partner with VTech, and also our dry mix mortar solution, we partner with CMI. So with this, we can resolve construction industry pain points, providing one-stop total compatible solution for every quality and beautiful finishing. So you can do a compatible wall system from plaster, skim coat, and paint, and even a complete tiling solution from waterproofing, tile adhesive, and then and tile grout as well. So these are just some of our project references that we like to showcase that we did with this total coating and construction solution. So you can see we did for this DBKL Training Center, Resident Rampai, the Park Residence, and even the Enclave, MRT Line, Complex Sogo, Ruby Star Park, Amalan Setar, Pavilion 2, Wisma Aman Elite, UWM Toyota, Pearl Surya, KL Trillion, Edu Central, and many others. So one thing I want to highlight is this Creative Color Awards that which is a global color competition for architects and design professionals. So let me just play this quick video about this.
Are you a person who works with colors? This is the competition you've been waiting for. Introducing the Creative Color Awards. We're here to recognize color excellence and celebrate inspiring use of colors. Calling for architects, interior designers, space owners. Submit your projects. We're looking for the best of the following categories: architectural, interior design, public spaces. Here's what's waiting for you on the other side: global recognition, cash prizes. Be part of a global creative community. More colorful details at creativecolораwards.com.
So among the categories, these are the prizes for the Creative Color Awards for architectural, interior design, public space, and also the grand prize winner of USD 5,000. So for anyone interested, please scan the QR code and submit your designs by 12th of April. I'll leave it up here for like 5 seconds for everyone who wants to scan now. Okay, has everyone? All right. So yep, that's all for me. So thank you for allowing for this. If anyone wants to ask questions, our booth is just outside. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tristan Chan, for that very informative presentation. So now allow me to introduce our speaker of the evening, architect Loke Kwang, and invite him to the stage to present the space in between. But before that, allow me to read some of his biography. Architect Loke Kwang started HYLA Architects, a boutique architectural practice based in Singapore. The award-winning firm is known for pushing the envelope of the single-dwelling house design in the tropics. The firm was founded in 1994. In the nearly 30 years of practice has come to establish itself as an important contributor to the local and regional architecture scene through innovative experiments in form, material, and sensitivity to contact. Architect Loke Kwang of HYLA Architects explored the concept of architectural spaces that mediate between the user and the environment in the tropics using single-family dwelling as the vehicle of experimentation. This talk showcases how the perennial issues that come with living in the tropics can become sources of delight, comfort, and genius loci. The way he does this is by addressing the particularities of living in Singapore with its distinctive climate conditions of heat, glare, and perennial rainfall, as well as urban density and its distinctive culture. How to react to such a situation has become a sort of ongoing thesis of the firm. Please welcome to the stage architect Loke Kwang.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to my talk, and thank you, Pam, for inviting me here. So, as you know, my name is Loke Kwang. And the topic of my talk is called the space between. And in here, and in all my architectural life, I'm exploring different type of house typologies. Yeah. So why did I title this The Space Between? It's because I have a very simple definition of architecture, right? I define architecture as the space between you and the environment. If there is no architecture, you are in the environment. Like here, you are in a space, right? You are between, the architecture is between you and the environment, which is outside. So you have you in space, and you have the environment. And in tropical country like Singapore and also Malaysia, what are the key points of the environment? First of all, you have the sun. The sun is a source of heat, of glare, of discomfort generally. We all don't like the sun in the country, right? We try to hide away from the sun. Only foreigners like the sun. Locals don't like the sun. And then we have the weather, the clouds, right? And it often rains, right? And we don't like the rain also, right? We don't like to be in the rain, right? You know, we are all very scared of the rain. If you go in the rain, even for 10 seconds, you will get sick, right? This is what all the mothers tell us. You can take a shower for half an hour, you're fine. But you're in the rain for 10 seconds, you get sick. Yeah. So the rain, we don't like the rain as well. And then the other things in the environment are people and houses, other people and houses. And generally in a lot of our houses, and in Singapore anyway, we don't like other people and we don't like other houses. Yeah, right? Usually like it's not nice, the neighbor's not nice, or the people are not nice, yeah. So we just want to hide in the little houses, right? We don't have the kampong spirit anymore. Everybody wants to be sheltered and to be private. Yeah. So that's the environment. And so we create a box around, we call architecture, to shield us from the environment. Now, of course, this is very bad. Yeah. I meet foreign architects from the West, and they are so jealous of our climate, right? Where the temperature swings the most 10 degrees. In the West, you have to deal with temperature swings, of 30 degrees, 40 degrees. They have to deal with the cold all the time, It can be very cold. They have to keep the heat. Yeah, it has to be well insulated. There are condensation problems. And when they see the houses that we can do, they're so jealous, right? You can be in a single layer of clothing all year round. You can have a shelter, and you are free to design very simple open houses. But a lot of us live in houses that don't do that, right? We don't want the outside. Yeah. So, and we have a very narrow band of temperatures we are comfortable with, right? 5 degrees actually. 30 degrees above, wow, it's very hot. 25 degrees below, it's too cold. Yeah, we can only exist within this narrow band of temperature, which is, yeah. And we live in a climate that allows that, which is very good. It can be very, very sustainable. But what do? We spend 60 to 70% of energy on air conditioning, right? Yeah, that is the biggest consumer of power in the tropics, air conditioning. Yeah. So tonight, I want to present 10 houses, which I have done over a span of 10 years, 2010 to 2020, right? Yeah, and in all these houses, I'm trying to explore a way for people to live in a tropical country comfortably without air conditioning, right? And to find a way to mediate between the inside and the outside, to make people enjoy the outdoors, the nature that we can bring in, right? To make people not use air conditioning as much as possible. Yeah. So let's go. So one of my earliest works I've done in 2010, I call Bridge Over Water. And in this house, I put the swimming pool, which is a very common facility in landed houses in Singapore, bigger landed houses. I put the swimming pool under the building. Yeah, I let the buildings fly over the swimming pool. And there was a very simple functional reason for that as well, because the house about 2 blocks away was a train station line and a train station, so there was a bit of noise coming from the front. So I put the swimming pool in front to act as a buffer between the noise and the house. So I pulled the house, the living areas, all the main bedrooms all the way back, but I let the rest of the buildings fly over the swimming pool. Yeah. So this is the facade of the house. And besides the train station, there is also a very big, monstrous neighbor, which I say, a lot of people don't like their neighbors, but this is a very big house, right? So there was always a problem in Singapore when we live in very dense communities of privacy. Yeah. And the house is a very narrow site. It's only 10 meters and almost 50 meters long. And so I put the pool in the front. This is the photograph of the house looking towards the entrance. And to enter the house, you have to walk through a glass bridge over the pool. Yeah. And you can see that the house, on top, there's a floor above, right? And I have walls around it, punctured by holes, to shield away the exterior, but to allow lights and ventilation to come through. So it's very well ventilated. Yeah. But it is completely sheltered from everything else. Yeah. So it is outdoor space. It is a swimming pool outdoors. And when you're standing in the living room, you are looking at this view. You are your own sheltered space, comfortably shaded. You don't see your big neighbor on the right-hand side. You don't really hear the noise of the train because the water has sound, right? So it's a way. It's an indoor pool in an outdoor setting, so to speak. Yeah. And this is It doesn't happen very often because everybody puts a swimming pool, if you have a bungalow on the front or on the side, yeah, nobody puts a swimming pool under the house. Yeah. This is the view of it at night. And the spiral staircase is not the main staircase. It goes into the guest room so that if you're a guest, you're coming home, you don't have to go through the house. And right at the very top, we have a gym. Yeah, so there is a main staircase inside. And this is a view towards the house, where you walk through the bridge, you enter to a living room. On the second level is the family room. And then right at the very top, you see the floor of the master bedroom flying over the swimming pool. Right? And on the two sides, there's openings so that the air and the light can come in through for the space. So this is what I call the bridge over water. The next house is a very small intermediate terrace house. It's only about 150 square meters. Yeah. I call this house the well of light. And as you know, when you do an inter-terrace house, bringing in light into the middle of the house is always the main challenge because you have party walls on both sides. Yeah. So, and the traditional way is, one of the traditional ways is to do a light well. You have a skylight, you seal everything, but that creates a problem because if you have a skylight in the tropics, it's creating a greenhouse effect. It gets very hot. So in this simple diagram that I drew, I had the house. The top diagram is the plan. So it's made of 2 blocks which are staggered so that the air can flow through. And then the bottom diagram is a section. Then the stagger also happens in the section. That means from the lower part, it goes through a courtyard well, which is naturally ventilated and it can escape onto the top. So it is an outdoor space that is lit from the top and the sides and permanently naturally ventilated. So this is a facade view of the rear, actually. This is the first house I did completely in off-form concrete in Singapore. And this is the view from the middle of the house, looking towards the front. So on the left-hand side, you see the staircase. Underneath the staircase is a reflecting pond, right? And at the end of this staircase, it is naturally ventilated with a screen. So it comes into this courtyard space, which is also naturally ventilated at the top, right? And then you're looking here, you're looking at the dining, the dry kitchen, and the living area. Yeah. View of the central space with the light streaming in through. On the upper level, there's a family room and then a bedroom towards. And here at the very top, you see the top of the courtyard with the ventilation going out towards the right. Yeah, so it is completely naturally ventilated. Yeah. So this idea of having parts of the house where the outdoor can come in, where the outdoor environment can come in, and you can never seal it, is, I would say, one of the principal ways I try to bring nature and the environment into, and I try to modulate the temperatures of the indoors as well. And I found that even though you put a skylight, you screen it, if you allow the air to escape, it never gets hot inside. In fact, it creates a thermal movement of the air, right? And it's actually very comfortable. Yeah. The third house is, I call a room without roof. It's done in 2014. And this is a very simple house. It's a very simple detached house with a swimming pool, right? And I had the idea of making a simple gable pitch form, like what a kid would draw a house to be, with a hole on one side and a swimming pool going through it. Yeah. So this is the facade. For this house, I use face brickworks, so natural brick, which is a material which I love. Very little maintenance. You don't have to paint it I'm sorry, Nippon paint. I like to use natural materials in all my buildings. Yeah. So here, of course, the interiors will still be painted. Yeah. So here you see the big opening and the swimming pool going through it. Yeah. And one of the facades, I use precast concrete blocks, which is, again, a very local kind of material, right? But we did a different design. We precast it ourselves, or rather the contractor precast it themselves. Yeah. So the idea is that the swimming pool goes inside the form of the house. So it's like, it's still outdoors. This room, in inverted commas, has a pergola on top, but it is not covered. It is open, so that's why I call it room without roof. So it's like a grand room of the house because it is part of the form of the house, but it is completely outdoors. And what we're trying to do is to integrate the pool into the living environment of the house. It's not like you are inside the house and then the pool is outside. The pool comes into the house. Yeah. And it also has the added benefit of, in fact, cooling the house because of the water body and providing a lot of privacy for the swimming pool. Because the last thing you want to do when you're swimming in your house is for your neighbors to look at you, right? Yeah. So when you're in this courtyard space, the idea is that you are completely sheltered from the outdoors as well, outdoors environment. You don't see the outdoor, you don't see other houses, and other people don't look into you, but you are actually outdoors. And the walls provide a lot of shade as well, so that it is a more comfortable outdoors, even though it is open. The next house I will show is what I call intermediate story. This house is again an intermediate terrace. And this house was done when the planning authority in Singapore changed the rules about how we can do houses in Singapore. They relaxed some of the rules. They let you build another level as long as you keep to a certain height. Yeah, so the height didn't increase, but they made it more flexible so that you could add another level. So this is the first house that we did using having those rules applied. And again, we tried to solve the problem of another problem of intermediate terrace houses is that usually you have no view on the first story because you will park your car in front, right? And you put a living room right in front, you look at your car. I know some people love looking at their cars whole day, yeah, but we were trying to think, how do we make the living room more interesting? Yeah. So the idea here, which at that time was, again, pretty radical, now it is completely common in Singapore for inter-terrace houses, was to have the living areas on the second level. Yeah. So again, for this house, in the facade, we did a precast concrete block. I did the block in a kind of random pattern. So there were only like 4 different types, but I arranged them in a random pattern so that it actually provides a very powerful screening feature, because if you randomize the pattern, the brain cannot assemble the image behind the pattern. If you have a regular screen, a vertical screen, and grid screen, the brain can, even though it's only 20% showing, the brain will put together whatever image. But if you make it random, it's very hard for the brain to understand what's happening, and it actually does work. Yeah. So this is the view of the living room on the second level. It is a double volume space, meaning there is a mezzanine floor, and it looks into a courtyard, which is again open to the sky and screened by this concrete block. And again, for here, we use off-form concrete, expose it for the floors. We have face brickwork on the 2 sides of the party walls, creating a very nice ambience to the house. So this view of the courtyard with one singular feature tree and a view of the concrete block we did. And there's another functional reason for the concrete block, right? My client is a cat lover. He has 2 cats. And we designed this to be a climbing wall for the cats. Yeah, so there are ledges for the cats to climb across. So this is the view from the living room with the stairs going up to a mezzanine floor on the left, right, and the courtyard on the right. Next, I introduced a house I call Concrete Light. It is a semi-detached house. Semi-detached house, I think you have it here as well, is 2 houses joined together. Yeah, so it's only detached on one side. And again here, I put the pool into the house, but the architecture is a little bit different. It is completely sheathed by a concrete structure, right? And which screens the house from the outside, but lets in a lot of light. And that's hence I call the house concrete light. So this is the view from the front of the house. It is completely done in off-form concrete with timber formwork. The right-hand side is the house it's joined to. It's completely different. No attempt here to try to be like him. This is the house view from the side, where you see the concrete screen wrapping around with a very simple pitch form at the top as well. And here is the pool going again into the house. This time there's a concrete screen covering the whole pool. From the other side. And all the bedrooms are actually on the facade at the top here. So all the bedrooms look into this space as well. You can open the window, hang your head out, talk to everyone. You can see so this is the first house I did using a concrete screen. And I must say, hats off to the contractor who has never done this before, right? So the screen was cast almost like layer by layer. So there are like 10, 12 pours just to get this concrete facade done. And inside the house, again, there's a double volume living, dining, and dry kitchen with a study room at the back, at the top. And then you see the pool on the other side. This house I call custom shades. It is a corner terrace house. It is sort of like a semi. It's actually a very small plot. And this house actually has unpleasant environments on all three sides. So on the on a corner side, on the side is a primary school, so it's a source of noise. It's really very noisy, the primary school. And then on the front and back is east and west facing. So east and west facing nowadays is sources of heat, lots of glare, things which are uncomfortable with. So it's a house that almost battling all the harsh things of the environment. So I designed two kinds of screens. On the front, which is the eastern side, I created a screen that gave shelter to a vertical garden. And then on the western side, I designed a very thick precast concrete screen. It's 30 cm thick with lots of very deep recess, right, to shield off the western sun. So this is a view from the corner of the site. So the front with a vertical concrete screen, again completely cast in situ. On the side is a full concrete wall, off-form concrete wall. On the left-hand side, you can't see it's actually a primary school. Oops, sorry, what happened? And this is the rear. So this is the precast concrete block facade that we did. There are three modules. There's a big square, a small square, and a long rectangle. And again, we rearranged this in different patterns. The concrete skin came out to be quite heavy, the big one, so they needed like 4 to 6 guys to carry. They had to cast it on the room next to it, and then they cast it, and they carry it, put it on top, because it's very deep. And if you can see here, what I did to infill the glass, I had stained glass. I had 4 different colors of yellow and orange, so it's created a very subtle effect indoors. This is the front behind the vertical concrete screen where I had a garden. And in the living room, again, a double volume space. You can see towards the front, the concrete, the precast concrete screen, and you can just make out the colors of the stained glass. Yeah. So the materials I use are very simple. Just in this house, it's just concrete and timber. Yeah. The floor tiles are chosen to match the concrete, so it's a very monochromatic, very minimalist kind of house. We have a screen design, like a display area where the staircase is, and these are just solid teak timber strips. Okay, this house I call Terra Viridis, which is in Latin is like green platforms or green terraces. It's also an intermediate terrace house. And what I did was I created courtyards and planters across all the levels so that when you superimpose it on the plan, it is 90% of the land area. Yeah, so it's like I'm almost giving up where I can, the whole site, but in different floors, all of the green that was taken away when you build the house there. Yeah, so it's green platforms. And the house is in a very dense urban area in Singapore. On the right-hand side is actually a massive shopping center. Yeah, so it is again a very uncomfortable environment. Yeah. So on the second level, where the bedrooms are, I had a courtyard where all the rooms face. Where it is a bedroom, I would have a screen. Where it's a family room, I make it more open, or a study. Yeah. Right at the very top, I have a concrete pergola with glass. And then on this corner here, you see an opening where the air can ventilate out through at the very top. Yeah. So again, we find that I can cover these courtyards as long as I keep them permanently ventilated, it works. Again, the sides are using face brickwork. In this case, I have the concrete is not exposed, but it's covered with a textured paint. Okay, now we go to another semi-D house I call Outside In. And here I would say is the most indoors space that I created, which is actually outdoors. That means the space really looks like it is indoors, but again, it is permanently naturally ventilated. That means a bird can fly into the house at any time. Yeah, but it really feels more like an indoor space rather than an outdoor space. So again, the house is east-west facing. So the eastern part, there is a timber screen, a very simple timber screen. It gives you a lot of privacy. And when you enter the house, you enter into this courtyard, which, like I say, it's actually an outdoor space. It is covered. There's a skylight. Parts of the timber screen don't have glass. So at the bottom where the car park is, there's no glass. So it's naturally ventilated. Yeah. There is a feature tree and a koi pond around it in this space. And it is like the main courtyard entrance space of the whole house. Yeah. So again, like in parts here, there's no glass at all. Yeah. So where I can be sure that the rain will never go through the screen, yeah, I take out the glass. Yeah. There's a big opening here as well, where there's a garden. Yeah. So it's just have these strategies where light and air and the weather actually can filter into the house. And of course, when there's no wind, then we have this HYLA fan, which works fantastically well. Yeah. And so this is the living area looking into this space, which is actually like an outdoor space, but it really feels like an indoor space. So it's a way to, again, mediate the temperature so that you are not sitting in just one piece of glass, but there is outside. It's a way to give you privacy and a view to the indoors as well. In this house, I call vertical oasis. Again, it is a semi-detached house. The party wall is on the left-hand side. Yeah. And for most semi-detached house, the common practice is that you have the garden on the other side where you have a piece of green, you put a pool there, yeah, because that's your green. In here, I totally reversed it. I put the pool and the garden between the house and the neighbor. Yeah. So I created a big courtyard all the way from the first floor to the roof. Yeah. And then I put all the rooms on an L-shape wrapping around it. And there was a very good functional reason for it, because this house actually faces an incoming road, so there's a huge problem with privacy. If you have the living room facing the front or the bedroom facing the front, you have cars kind of like coming towards your house. Yeah. So I made the cars kind of face a blank wall, right? And I put the courtyard on the left-hand side. And this is the view into the courtyard. Yeah. So the space outside the courtyard, there's a swimming pool, and inside the courtyard, it transitions into a koi pond. Yeah. And the courtyard, you can see at the top, is covered with a glass roof, and in this case, an aluminum pergola. So again, no rain ever falls in, right? And the pergola and the skylight brings in light, but tempers it just a little, so it's not too hot, not too harsh. Yeah. Moving in here, in the courtyard space as well, you see the double volume living area with the dining at the end of the courtyard. Yeah, we landscape the area around the party wall to give a green background. There's a mezzanine floor with a bar, and then right at behind the dining area, the mezzanine floor has a study room. Yeah, and above that, you see it's actually the another double volume master bedroom. So this is the view you get from the dining room or the deck. On the left-hand side, you see the living room, the courtyard. And here again, you're completely sheltered from the outdoors. Your neighbors cannot see you. The rain never falls in, right? And you have a very well-modulated environment. So the house I want to show you, I call concrete yin yang. Yeah. In a way, this is a more traditional kind of house in the way it treats the outdoors. There's outdoors and indoors, but it is a little bit different in how the structure looks. I call concrete yin yang because in this house, 3 sides are no good. You know, one side, of course, faces the road, facing another big neighbor on the back and the side, but on one side where the corner is, it faces a very big open field. Right? So all 3 sides are very solid. I did it in concrete. Right at the very top, there is a concrete screen as well. Yeah, and the house is actually trapezoidal in shape, which you can barely make out. Yeah. So I made the house rectangular, but I made the structure trapezoidal. So at the left-hand side, at the front, you see the structure is wider, and then it tapers towards the right. And then I had planters going across all through the house. Yeah. As you enter, there is a courtyard, a little bonsai garden. Yeah. And then this is the pool view, yeah, with the planters coming above. And so, just to summarize, I think I like to make houses more like resort villas that you go. Yeah, you know, when you go in the resort villa, it's designed so that you never see your neighbor. Yeah, you're always private. You have a beautiful environment. You can be outdoors. Yeah, it's very relaxing. Yeah, so I think that kind of model is what in a way, is more suitable for our climate. Yeah. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy it.
Thank Thank you so much, Architect Han Loke Kwang, for that wonderful, insightful sharing. So now we will open for a Q&A session. Slido link will be shown on the screen. For those who have questions, you may post in the link and scan on the screen. So I would like to invite again Architect Han Loke Kwang and also Architect Rain Tan, CPD Chairman, on stage for the Q&A session. So you may scan the QR code to post question if you have any question. All right. Okay, let me start first. So I saw that you have integrated some of like vegetation indoor in some of your design, and that is very great. But I know that I may be wrong that Singapore authority, they have enforced like integration, like you have to replace back the vegetations in whichever land that you have developed into your new development, that you need to replace back greeneries into your new development. So does it apply into for residential building as well? And what is your opinion on that enforcement by Singaporean law on that replacing the vegetation?
Yeah, sorry. Hello? Hello? Okay. Actually, Singapore is completely built up, almost completed. So only the nature reserves have natural ventilation. Yeah. And we almost don't have any land that we are building from scratch. Yeah. Everything that we're building is building over another original building. Yeah. So we don't have a law that we have to replace the vegetation. We have certain areas that are demarcated as tree conservation areas where any large trees cannot be taken, cannot be destroyed. Yeah. But I would say that, and then for single dwelling houses, there are no such requirement. Yeah. So it is up to us to persuade the clients to integrate greenery into the houses. Yeah. So some clients are receptive, sometimes some are not. So that's always a battle I'm sure many of you face as well.
And thanks for your wonderful sharing section on your bungalow design. We wanted to know, on top of the green thing that we mentioned, is your design include all the ID design, landscape design, as well as the most important thing, we actually see a lot of concrete form that you did, and also the face brick. Do you have any dedicated contractor who can actually do it, or you have some, selected list of contractor? How do you actually go through on this process?
Okay, many of the off-form concrete houses that you see were actually done by contractors for their very first time as well. Yeah, so they were good contractors. We worked together to achieve the final result. But many of those houses you see, like the concrete screen, they had never done this before, right? And they took on the challenge, and they did it, and they managed to pull it off. So I would say it's been a very exciting and an explorative journey. Yeah, and I'm very happy with the results. I don't know how I did it, but it just worked. That's all. So I would say that I think as architects, in a way, you need to dare to dream a bit. But you have to take calculated risks, of course. Yeah, but you need to push the boundaries. If you were all afraid, and in Singapore, you're not like Japan and France where they have decades of off-form concrete experience. Yeah, but we need to push them as well. And then when we push them and we work together, they were able to do the result. Yeah. So I would say that's the takeaway.
Okay, question from the audience. Some of your houses looks very open to outdoor. How do you deal with the human needs for a sense of security as a designer?
Yes. So, first of all, Singapore is very different. It is very safe. Yeah, from Malaysia, I would say that. Yeah, people have a different kind of mentality. Yeah, number one. But number two is that many of the houses, we actually are able to secure the house. It's just that we hide them away. Yeah, so there are screens, there are windows that can be closed. Yeah, but of course, we take the photo, we take it as though we want to live in it. But they can lock everything up and leave. Yeah, so there are strategies around it. Some houses the clients don't mind, some houses the clients do, so we work around that. But when we do it, we make it so that the ideal can be achieved. But if you really want to lock up, they can also lock it up.
You do mention about the design that you have off-front concrete and etc. So how do you actually convince your client, or how do you actually align the design philosophy of yourself with your client philosophy? How do you achieve or balance between the client needs and the design?
Okay, that's a very good question. Yeah. So I would say that in general, all clients want the same things. Okay, so they want the house to work, number one. Function is very important. They want X number of rooms. You know, the brief is very important. Yeah, and they want everything to be as big as possible, as tall as possible, and as bright as possible. And they want everything to be low maintenance. Yeah. If you achieve all that, usually you can get away with all the rest of the architecture. Yeah. So the trick is to achieve all that they want, and then leave the architecture to the architect, but achieve what they want first. Yeah. Then you can do the rest.
So in terms of design process, how long do you actually take for the design process before you actually go into the construction when you meet one new client?
In Singapore, the design process is relatively fast. I would say that for most jobs, we will settle the design between 2 to 4 meetings, means about 2 months. But the process to start get it built takes a long time because you have to submit to the authorities. You have to, there are like 10 different departments to go through. I'm not sure, you know, yeah. And then you have to do the design development, call for tender, get the permits. So by the time you start construction, it is about a year, I would say.
Okay. Normally in Malaysia, we have the authority, we control on the facade design. On how does it works in Singapore? I mean,
authorities in Singapore don't control the facade design. They just control what they call the envelope. That means the size of the house in relation to the site. Yeah, so that is a very well-established guideline. Yeah. As long as you follow the envelope, it's a certain height, then they don't bother you.
You will share with us 10 projects today. So throughout the project, most of them actually have off-front concrete and also fair face concrete. Can you share with us a general guideline? What is the construction cost of the bungalow that you do so far?
Today?
Yeah, today.
Today, a house would cost about 400 to 600 Singapore dollars per square feet. Yeah, it's very expensive. Wow, yes.
Is the expensive part because of the design itself, or is on?
No, this is like, maybe my houses are a little bit more expensive, 10% to 20%, but yeah, most houses are like that.
One more question on the, wait. How do you, I mean, most of your projects are single dwellings house. So what are the factors, like you select only single dwelling project, or do you commission like any other mixed development or commercial project, or you just being selective to just a single dwelling project?
Yeah, so this is my niche. I'm well known in doing this. I really enjoy doing this because I would say doing single dwelling houses in a way gives you almost the most complete, I wouldn't say freedom, but opportunity to explore many things. Yeah. And most of my houses are also for owner-occupiers, not for developers. Yeah, because I find it more personal, more interesting. Yeah, you can do a lot of, I mean, every house is custom built for a certain family, right? So I would say, rather than you work for a developer, you don't know who's going to live in them, so you have to make very generic choices. Yeah. So I would say this is something that I really enjoy doing, and I'm very happy to continue doing it.
I very much focus on the material you use on the concrete as well as the fabric brick and also some van block as well that you do. Is there any specific reason you are actually going to this direction, or that is mostly from your architecture philosophy point of view?
So I like to use these materials because of the textures and of course of the ambience that they give. Yeah, I would say it's very different from having painted surfaces. Again, sorry about Nippon. Yeah. And even having stone cladding, I felt that that's a little bit too ostentatious for me. So I prefer a more, I would say, very direct, honest kind of material for my houses, for the buildings that I do. I would say it's a very emotional kind of thing, I would say. Yeah. When I do the designs, I think the very important thing is that I design from my heart, right? So I would say that it's very important that the house or the design satisfies your soul or the emotion. So I think those materials do evoke the kind of emotions. Yeah.
Most of the house you design actually involving the screen design and then also have the facade. Have you actually include the thermal study and things like that so that it help to convince your client in terms of how functional the screen be?
We don't do actually any scientific study. I think we just apply common sense and logic and experience to the design. Yeah.
So like most of your project that you use like a bare concrete and also bricks. So how about the durability of this material in long term for dwelling house, in terms of the maintenance wise and also keeping it like clean? How does it works?
Yeah, it's been going very well. For the concrete, we do use a very good concrete stain, a protective stain from Japan. Yeah, and for the bricks, we do apply a coating as well, most of them. Yeah, but you know, bricks can last hundreds and hundreds of years. You see, they age very beautifully as well. And the other thing that is very important is, of course, the detailing, how you catch. I mean, when it rains, lots of unpleasant things can happen, as you know. Yeah, so it's all the detailing. How does the rain fall finally into the ground? How does it travel? Yeah, so I think those are the things that are important besides the material.
Just wonder, any of your shown project just now, is any of that is your own house?
No.
They are hoping to visit your house. And
Yeah, I was wonder how will your work, your home looks like?
so we actually roughly know about your design philosophy and direction through your presentation as well as your social media. Have you actually applied this similar design concept to other type of project or high rises or any project that is not dwelling? Have you actually do this?
No, I haven't had a chance of it.
What do you think in terms of like the social cultural behaviors of the Singaporean? I mean, in terms of the social behavior effects in terms of your architectural design thought, or you're designing for your client, any like distinctive character of the Singaporean?
Yes, of course. I mean, houses are very personal spaces. I mean, the clients who come, most of them are Singaporeans, some of course are expats, yeah. So culture is always a very key part of the design of the house, I would say. I would say that if you look at my houses, actually, in terms of the style, it's very modern. In a way, it is, more Western or Japanese kind of aesthetic. I'm not using much local vernacular, right? Yeah, but the cultural aspects of how the house is planned and the environment, I would say, is very Asian, I would say. And the courtyard is a very Asian feature, right? Yeah, and how I look at spaces are also very Asian. And the bricks I use, generally the dark gray bricks, actually is a very Chinese kind of architecture as well. Yeah, so I would say there are that traditional Asian and cultural influences. And I'm Singaporean, I've lived there all my life, so the lifestyle, only a Singaporean does many of the things that we do. Yeah, so it's definitely evoked into the houses.
I think one of the interesting questions that our audience wanted to ask is, in your design about the terrace houses, that is built much higher as compared to the house next door. Is there any consideration to the environment or the surrounding?
So the houses we will definitely build to the max of the envelope control. Yeah, the houses which are lower have not been rebuilt. Eventually, all of them will reach the same height for sure. Yeah. So it's like if you're not in a heritage zone where we have to take care of, of the streetscape, yeah, all of these, they will go to the max, and almost everybody who rebuilds will go to the max. But for me, it's how you do go to the max in a more sensitive way, I would say.
Okay, most of your project have like open ventilations and very open kind of concept with high ceiling to the niches. And how do you control in terms of like nature or like birds, insect into the house? I mean, do you have any consideration of that during your design? How do you like avoid to have kind of sort of birds into the house or like insects?
For me, I think if animals come into a house, it's a very good sign.
Since we talk about the occupant who come in and etc., do you actually do follow-up or discussion after the house being occupied for 1 year with the owners? And if you do, is their lifestyle change after the new house is built, or they still, you're promoting all the natural ventilation, etc.? Do they still turn on the aircon and all that?
Of course, I do come back and visit, but most of the time when you go back to visit a house, there is a problem. But the houses that the clients do enjoy, they will definitely tell me, yeah, and that's a very rewarding part of it, yeah. And I would say for whether they use aircon more or aircon less, I would say, of course, it varies from people. There are some people who cannot live without the aircon at all, yeah. So these people, they will always hide in their room, turn on the aircon. But maybe the other family members, you can see them enjoying the space. I visit some houses, and every time I visit the house, the aircon is not turned on, they are relaxing. So that's very, very rewarding to see. Yeah. People enjoying the house as you design it. Yeah.
That's a very good part of this, and especially when we actually look into your design, it's so tropical. So we understand that the ventilation and lighting is very important, especially the natural one. How about when we actually design according to the rainwater and insect? Have you actually considered on the cost of maintenance when you actually start for design? When you look into the material or the design philosophy on this?
Sorry, I don't quite understand.
The cost of maintenance and keeping up for the building.
Okay.
Have you actually considered it when you select material and also designing the layout?
Yes, so like using concrete and face brickwork and using materials that, need less maintenance and can also age beautifully. I think that's a key part of what we do. But I mean, we don't actually, for instance, a house, we don't actually go into a detailed study of, the maintenance cost, I would say, yeah.
So can you share with us one challenges that you face when you do this out-form concrete or this fair face brick? Any major challenge you can recall when you do these houses?
The contractor is the most important person.
Do you have like any, you have shared 10 projects, they are all interesting. Just one that you have like any special, any of the house project that you think is the best you think it's the best to showcase your architecture potential, like the best to present yourself, from any of the project or any features?
My next house.
So the last few questions, since you talk about the next house, how many houses you built for per year normally in general? About
10.
10 house.
5 to 10.
Okay, shall we continue? Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you, everyone. So yeah, sorry, we have one question from the gentleman. Yeah.
Test. Hi, good evening. Mr. Han. Congratulations for the wonderful projects that you have shown us.
Thank you very much.
My name is Lokman. I'm an architect in Kuala Lumpur. I've got a couple of questions, but before that, I would like to say that all the projects that you have presented to us are really, really interesting. I love your sketches and your thinking. And also, I find it interesting because if I were to give a conclusion to your work, number one, all your houses are different. I mean, they are all different. They are all unique, meaning that if they go to your house, they know that it's not been designed by a normal contractor or anyone, because your house stand different from the neighbors, for sure. Number two, they are unique. As you say that you design your houses more like a resort. I think one of the qualities that is very apparent is that the way you manipulate the space, you know, the grandeur of the space, and every vista is controlled with the use of materials and also the landscaping. So it's very, very unique. Congratulations for that. And also I like the way you handle the materials. If there is a category for vernacular architecture, I think yours will be a truly vernacular for our climate and our region, because it's been interpreted in the modern way. All the elements are there, but yet they are not the old type. They are the modern ones. It's wonderful also to see that, because one thing about architecture that people don't understand is it's very difficult to create the ambience and the impression of the space unless you have done it before, because it's a mastery skill between the proportions of the space and the material and the ambience. And I love the way that you have handled how every houses are different in the sense, but the scenery of the house changes every day because of the sunlight, the breezes. The other thing that I would like to ask is, what was the question then? Yeah, I think I wanted to ask you which one is the house. And the question that I want to ask is, were there any surprises that from the design stage? Of course, when design, we look at drawings and so on. But is there any house that you have built that give you a different, I mean, come out differently from what you have imagined, or impresses you, you know, in good way? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. It's a very, very good question. So I would say, amazingly, every project I do follows the same kind of course. Yeah. So it's like I have the vision, I would say, the vision, the image, and then I work out the design. We present it to the client. We will often do a physical model. And then there is this incredibly long journey. It takes about 2 years. Some houses, over COVID, sometimes it takes 3 years. Yeah. Very, very long journey. And then at the end of it, it goes like, hey, wow, okay, everything came out 95% as I imagined it. Yeah, I would say. So, and I'm always very surprised, yeah, by okay, it's exactly what it was. So I don't know whether I'm just lucky or something that I do or whatever, I have no idea, but I would say that is usually the case. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Now we're coming into the end. I would like to invite again Architect Kwang to the stage, and also Architect Rain, and also Ms. Young Hui Qi to accept token of appreciation from PAM. I hope everyone be seated. The event has not officially ended.